He could tear a lion apart with his bare hands. He could snap ropes like thread. An entire army feared the strength of one man. But in the end, it wasn't soldiers that defeated him. It wasn't swords. It wasn't war. It was a whisper, a woman, and a secret he should have never told. This is the story of the strongest man who ever lived, and how he lost everything because he fell for the wrong woman. In a time when Israel was oppressed, broken, and surrounded by enemies, God chose an unlikely weapon. Not a king, not a general, but a child who had not even been born yet. Before his first breath, before his first cry, a prophecy had already been spoken over him. His life would not be ordinary. An angel appeared to a barren woman, one who had long accepted that she would never hold a child. And the message was clear: you will conceive and give birth to a son, and he will begin to deliver Israel. But there was a condition. This child was to be set apart, different, untouchable by certain things. He would live under a sacred vow, a Nazirite vow. No wine, no unclean thing, and most importantly, no razor would ever touch his head, because his strength would not come from muscles. It would come from obedience, from God. And as long as that covenant remained unbroken, he would be unstoppable. The child was born, and they named him Samson. From the very beginning, there was something different about him. The Spirit of God moved within him, not constantly, but powerfully, like sudden bursts of divine energy, moments where heaven would step into his body, and impossible things would become easy. As he grew, so did his strength, but so did something else, a dangerous weakness. Samson had a pattern, a quiet flaw that would slowly destroy him. He was drawn to the wrong kind of woman, not once, not twice, but repeatedly, despite being chosen by God, despite having a divine purpose. Samson followed his eyes more than his calling. One day, he traveled to a place he had no business being, a Philistine territory, enemy ground. And there, he saw her, a woman, beautiful, foreign, forbidden, and immediately, he wanted her. He didn't pray. He didn't seek God. He didn't consider his mission. He simply said, "Get her for me. She pleases me." That was the beginning of a pattern that would repeat itself. Desire over discipline, impulse over obedience, and it would cost him more than he ever imagined. At first, it seemed like nothing could stop him. Even when he walked into danger, God's power still covered him. One day, a lion came roaring toward him. No weapon, no shield, just Samson. And in a moment that defied logic, he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. Not wounded, not struggling, just pure, overwhelming strength. As if the laws of nature didn't apply to him. But here's the thing. Victories like that can be dangerous, because when you keep winning, you start to believe you are untouchable. You forget where your strength truly comes from. Samson began to play with danger, not just facing enemies, but flirting with compromise. At his wedding feast, he made a reckless bet with Philistines, a riddle, a game. But when they couldn't solve it, they threatened his wife, and she did what fear always does. She betrayed him, she cried, she pressured, she wore him down, until he gave in and told her the answer. That was the first time Samson revealed something sacred because of emotional pressure, and it wouldn't be the last. Time passed, and Samson's victories grew more dramatic, more violent, more legendary. At one point, he killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey. Not an army, not a sword, a bone. Because when God's power moved through him, anything became a weapon. He became a symbol of fear to Israel's enemies, a one-man army, a living warning. But beneath all that strength, his character was quietly cracking. Because power without discipline is dangerous, and Samson had power, but not control. Then came the woman who would change everything. Her name was Delilah, and unlike the others, This time, the danger wasn't hidden. It was obvious. She lived in enemy territory. She was connected to the very people who wanted Samson dead. And yet, he went to her anyway. Not forced, not tricked. He walked straight into it. Because sometimes, the greatest danger isn't what you don't see. It's what you see clearly, but ignore. The Philistine rulers saw their opportunity. They couldn't defeat Samson in battle, so they decided to defeat him another way. They went to Delilah, and they made her an offer. Find out the secret of his strength, and they would make her rich. This wasn't love. This wasn't loyalty. This was a transaction, and Samson walked right into it. Delilah began her mission. Soft, gentle, patient. She didn't attack. She asked, "Tell me, Samson, what is the secret of your strength?" And Samson played with the truth. He lied. "Bind me with fresh bowstrings," he said. She tried it, and when enemies came, he broke free easily. "Again," she asked. Again, he lied. "Use new ropes." She tried again. Again, he broke free, over and over. The same pattern. She asked. He answered. She tested. He escaped. And each time, he got closer to the truth. Here's what's terrifying about this part of the story. Samson knew exactly what was happening. He knew she was trying to trap him. He knew his life was in danger. And yet, he stayed. He kept talking. He kept playing. Because sin doesn't always destroy you instantly. Sometimes, it slowly weakens your judgment until you start making decisions you never thought you would. Delilah changed her strategy. She stopped asking directly. She attacked emotionally. "How can you say you love me," she said, "when you won't trust me?" Day after day, she wore him down. Not with force, but with persistence, pressure, emotion, and Samson gave in. Finally, he told her the truth. Not a lie, not a half answer. The truth. "My strength comes from my hair," he said. "I have been set apart since birth. If my head is shaved, I will become weak like any other man." That moment was the turning point. Because his strength was never truly in his hair, it was in his covenant with God. But the hair represented that covenant, and by revealing it carelessly, he had already begun to break it. That night, Samson fell asleep, in her lap, comfortable, relaxed, unaware. And Delilah made the call. A man came quietly, silently, and began to cut his hair, lock by lock, piece by piece. The symbol of his strength fell to the ground, and for the first time in his life, God's power left him. When Samson woke up, he thought nothing had changed. "I will go out as before," he said. "I will shake myself free." But this time, there was no strength, no power, no divine surge, just weakness. Because what he lost wasn't just hair, it was the presence that made him unstoppable. The enemies he once destroyed now captured him easily. No fight, no resistance. They bound him, blinded him, and threw him into prison. The strongest man in the world, reduced to grinding grain like an animal. From power to humiliation, from victory to captivity. All because he gave his heart to the wrong person. But the story doesn't end there, because even in failure, God is not finished. In prison, something began to happen. Slowly, quietly, almost unnoticed. His hair started to grow back, and with it, a possibility. Not of restoring his past, but redeeming his ending. One day, the Philistines gathered for a celebration. They praised their false god. Believing they had defeated Samson, they brought him out as entertainment, to mock him, to laugh at him, to show the world that the mighty had fallen. But they didn't realize something. God wasn't done with Samson. Blind, weak, broken, Samson made one final request. "Place my hands on the pillars that support the temple." And there, in that moment, for the first time in a long time, he prayed, not for victory, not for glory, but for strength. One last time. Lord, remember me. That was all. Not a long speech, not a perfect prayer, just a broken man calling out to God. And God answered. Strength returned, not gradually, not partially, fully, powerfully. One final surge of divine force. Samson pushed against the pillars, and the entire temple began to shake. The structure cracked, the ground trembled, and in one final act, the building collapsed, defeating more enemies in his death than he ever did in his life. Samson's story is not just about strength, it's about weakness, not physical weakness, but internal weakness. Because the truth is, the strongest person in the world can still fall, not because they lack power, but because they lack discipline. Samson didn't fall in a battle. He fell in private, in conversation, in compromise, in moments that seemed small, but carried eternal consequences. And that's what makes his story so powerful. Because it's not just about him, it's about anyone who has ever ignored warning signs, chosen desire over purpose, stayed where they knew they shouldn't, or trusted someone they shouldn't have trusted. The lesson is clear. Not every relationship is safe. Not every connection is from God. And sometimes, the greatest threat to your destiny is not an enemy you fight, but a person you let close. Samson had strength, but he lacked wisdom. He had power, but he lacked boundaries. And in the end, it wasn't his enemies who destroyed him. It was his choices. But even then, grace had the final word. Because God still used him, even after failure, even after loss, even after everything. So the question is not, are you strong? The real question is, are you disciplined enough to protect your strength? Because strength alone is not enough. You must guard it, protect it, respect it. Or one day, you may wake up like Samson, thinking everything is the same, only to realize the power is gone. And by then, it might already be too late.